If we can find the mystery lodger, we will solve this murder investigation.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 chilling cases Crimewatch helped solve.
In a few minutes, you'll hear the voice of the man who kidnapped Stephanie Slater.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're going to be looking at the most disturbing cases that were showcased on the long-running UK programme. Specifically those that led to the public calling in with tips, which resulted in convictions. Which Crimewatch memory or case stands out to you the most? Let us know in those comments below. Number 10. Colette Aram. Starting at the beginning, on the debut episode of Crimewatch in 1984, they appealed for tips in the slaying of 16-year-old Colette Aram in 1983. Soon, the team received over 400 phone calls from the public. However, there was little for the police to work on, so the case went cold. By 2008, Jean-Paul Hutchinson was arrested for a driving offense. As a routine, his DNA was swabbed. Shockingly, the police found a near match to the DNA sample found in Aram's case. Yet Jean-Paul was only 20 years old. He wasn't even born when Aram was slain, but his father, Paul Hutchinson, was around and matched the incriminating sample. He was arrested, and in 2010, Hutchinson was sentenced to life. Number 9. Zhenzing Yang and Zizou. In 2008, the badly injured bodies of Chinese students Zhenzing Yang and Zizou were discovered in their Newcastle flat. The police were stuck. There seemed to be little motive for this destruction, but they did note that 3 mobile phones were missing. The police turned to Crimewatch, who put out an appeal.
If we can find the mystery lodger, we will solve this murder investigation.
Soon after, a father got in touch. His son and his friend were in a nearby park and found 3 phones in a carrier bag. One of these phones was linked to Goa Hui Chao. The investigation later found that the victims were involved in a betting scam, and Chao wanted the cash by any means. He was jailed for a minimum of 33 years in 2009. Number 8. The Russell family. The nation was stunned in 1996 with the news that the Russell family had been fatally attacked. Lynn, 45, her daughters Meg, 6, and Josie, 9, were walking their dog on a Kent country lane on their way back from a swimming gala. A man appeared from a car and attacked the family with a hammer. Only Josie survived. Crimewatch put together a reconstruction and made multiple appeals to the public. Altogether, around 600 calls to the tip line were made. 2 calls from psychiatric staff in particular had strong evidence that the culprit was their patient, Michael Stone. He was arrested and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Number 7. Stephanie Slater.
So as I turned around, he just suddenly changed.
One day in 1992, estate agent Stephanie Slater was showing a house to a man in Birmingham. The man instead attacked Slater and kidnapped her. He took her to a warehouse and placed her, tied up, within a makeshift coffin. He then ransomed her release, which the company Slater worked for paid. Then Slater was released and the kidnapper evaded arrest. The phone call that the kidnapper made was put on Crimewatch, hoping for viewers to recognize the voice.
In a few minutes, you'll hear the voice of the man who kidnapped Stephanie Slater.
Well, they got their wish when the man's ex-wife identified him as Michael Sams. Once he was arrested, DNA swabbing found that Sams was also responsible for the kidnap and slaying of Julie Dart in 1991. Sams was sentenced to life in prison. Number 6. Mabel Lechon. It's one of the strangest and most barbaric offences in Crimewatch history. The case took place in the Welsh village of Llanfair Pwllwingig o Gerechwindropic Llantysilio Gogogoch in 2001 when the body of 90-year-old Mabel Lechon was discovered and seemingly been involved in some sort of vampiric ritual. Crimewatch put out a plea for any tips on the grim case. Over 200 calls came in, many of which pointed to 17-year-old Matthew Hardman, who worked as Lechon's paperboy. Hardman was recently questioned by the police for asking a foreign exchange student to bite his neck. When police searched his home, they found many books and items relating to vampires and immortality. They also discovered a knife that had Lechon's DNA. Hardman was jailed for life. Number 5. Rhys Jones. In 2007, the UK mourned the loss of 11-year-old Rhys Jones in Liverpool. Jones was going home after football practice.
And like in many of tonight's cases, CCTV footage could make all the difference.
As he crossed a park, a teenager on a bike approached and fired a World War I revolver at Jones 3 times. He was fatally injured. The community rallied around the broken family as they searched for the fugitive. Crimewatch reconstructed the incident. This led to 12 phone calls naming the same person, Sean Mercer, who was 16 years old at the time of Jones's demise. He planned to fire at a rival gang member, but hit Jones instead. Mercer was sentenced to life imprisonment. Other gang members and parents were also sentenced for preventing the course of justice. Number 4. The Byfield family. In 2003, Joel Smith broke into the London home of Bertram Byfield and shot him 3 times. Byfield's daughter, 7-year-old Tony Ann, was also shot when she investigated the noise. Smith left no forensic evidence. He departed the capital and eventually arrived in Liverpool, where he was arrested and convicted for an unrelated firearm crime. Crimewatch made its appeal after being told the suspect's street name. Seeing the appeal, Smith turned the TV off, something that didn't go unnoticed by other prisoners. Later, Smith phoned his girlfriend about his fears, which was recorded. Many people began coming forward and led the police to Smith. He was convicted for life in 2006. Number 3. Sarah Payne. In 2000, 8-year-old Sarah Payne vanished when walking home from her grandparents' house in West Sussex. Sadly, 16 days later, her body was found.
So many people around the country, dabbed their eyes with a handkerchief when they heard about what happened.
A Crimewatch appeal proved successful as many tips came in that Roy Whiting was responsible. He was already a prime suspect due to his sordid criminal past, but the police lacked concrete evidence. Another Crimewatch appeal later showed fibers found on Payne's shoe from a patterned curtain. Thankfully, a viewer recognized the item. She had left the curtain in a van that her ex-boyfriend had sold to Whiting. Whiting was quickly arrested. In 2001, he was convicted for life in prison. Number 2. Serial offender. From 2001 to 2002, fear covered the M25 area as a man was assaulting numerous women. In one case, he called up the mother of one of his victims to taunt her about what he had just done. The police created a DNA profile and undertook a massive public appeal. Crimewatch showed viewers an e-fit, hoping someone would recognize the image. The show received 4,000 callers with tips, but one stuck out more than the others. They stated it looked like their neighbor, Anthony Imiela, and provided an address. The police tracked him down and swabbed his DNA. It was a hit. He was found guilty of assaulting 9 women and girls and received 7 life sentences. Number 1. James Bulger. In 1993, 2-year-old James Bulger vanished from a shopping centre in Merseyside when his mother briefly paid for shopping. 2 days later, his body was found near a railway track. The police examined CCTV and saw 2 young boys escorting Bulger by hand at the shopping centre. They, along with Crimewatch, reached out for witnesses to see if the boys knew what happened, as they may be the last ones to see Bulger alive. Witnesses stated that the boys were 10-year-old John Venables and Robert Thompson. It sent shockwaves through the nation when Venables and Thompson were found to be responsible for Bulger's horrid fate. The 2 received a minimum sentence of 8 years. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.